Hello there, a great evening to you and many thanks for joining us on Rwanda Television News. We do hope you had yourselves a great and productive day, but also a productive week and a great and beautiful start to your weekend. And now, this is what is coming up. The President of the Central African Republic has thanked President Paul Kagame and the Rwanda Defense Force for their role in efforts to restore peace to the Central African Republic and train that country's armed forces. Somalia has become the 8th country to be accepted into the East African community. It is my absolute pleasure having your company tonight and coming to you straight from the heart of Africa, Kigali. My name is Sam Akalisa, and we'll kick it off on the local but also regional scene. Somalia has become the 8th country to be accepted into the East African community following a decision at the 23rd Ordinary Summit of the East African Community Heads of State Summit in Arusha, Tanzania on Friday. Somalia's president has called the decision historic, noting that his people's historic links to other countries in the bloc means that they have always belonged with it, pointing out that this is another important step in regards to East African unity. Somalia first asked to join the East African community 11 years ago, and during the summit, Burundi passed on the chair of a community to South Sudan. It also decided that the East African community regional force remain in the DRC as efforts to restore peace and security to that troubled continue, and that the East African community is to work with SADC in this particular respect. During the proceedings, the outgoing chair of the bloc noted that the EAC's economy has grown by 14% and regional projects geared towards a faster development have continued to be unhindered, but also pointed out that the insecurity in the Eastern DRC is a threat to regional security as a whole, which is why increased efforts are still needed. And we'll
committed to supporting and continuing to work with the new chair during the next tenure of the East African Community chairmanship. Rwanda also appreciates the East African community heads of states for their continued efforts in preserving peace, security, and stability in the region. Rwanda believes that East African community partner states shall continue to collaborate in maintaining and safeguarding the best we have achieved across our region. In this regard, we note with appreciation the increasing cooperation among the EAC states. Regional integration projects and programs continue to grow despite a limited funding mechanism. However, finding a suitable and sustainable source of funding for East African community remains a priority. And this has been also discussed in our closed session. Rwanda is committed to partnering with other EAC member states to address this issue.
Here, Prime Minister Dr. Edouard Ngirente, who represented President Paul Kagame in the summit, was reiterating Rwanda's commitment to all the ongoing processes of the East African community. And Kenya's President William Ruto noted that with the admission of Somalia as the 8th member of the bloc, opportunities of collaboration and progress are limitless, which leaves a task for speeding up pending projects in the region.
Mr. Chairman, allow me to congratulate the Federal Republic of Somalia for joining the East African community. We now have an extra 15 million people, or thereabout, who will become members of this great family. As I congratulate Somalia, let me congratulate the other 7 members of this great organization. The East African community today is the most integrated, the most progressive economic community in our continent. It speaks volumes as to our resolve as East Africans to build a common market, to build on our strengths, and to focus on a common destiny.
Among the issues affecting the region include security, especially in the eastern part of the DR Congo, with the mandate of the East African Community nearing completion but extended. The Kenyan president reiterated that regional member countries would continue to advocate and contribute to finding lasting peace for the conflict.
Even as we agreed this morning on the subject of Eastern DRC and the security challenges there, that as East Africans, we will not walk away from the people of Eastern DRC. We are going to agree on a methodology with our brothers from SADC on how that whole situation is going to be handled in a manner that respects the wishes of the people of DRC and in a manner that makes sure that there is no vacuum and the situation in DRC is handled in the best way possible to the benefit of the people of DRC and to the benefit of the people of East African Community, because they are our brothers and sisters and they deserve our solidarity.
The 23rd Ordinary Summit of the East African Community Heads of State concluded with the Republic of South Sudan assuming the chairmanship of the East African Community, with the country's president Salva Kiir becoming the bloc's new chairperson. And to other matters related to diplomacy and international cooperation, the President of the Central African Republic has thanked President Paul Kagame and the Rwanda Defense Force for their role in efforts to restore peace in the Central African Republic and train that country's armed forces. This was reiterated during the pass-out ceremony on a Friday for 512 Central African soldiers that were trained by the RDF.
49 of those soldiers are female, and the group as a whole has expressed confidence in the skills they were given in the period of 5 months to be able to defend their country.
Rwandais nous ont donné, c'est une information.
The Rwandans gave us training that I can say is of an international standard, and now, even in the absence of the RDF, we would be able to defend our country.
Pour défendre les territoires. Ce qui nous a vraiment motivés, vu la collaboration bilatérale.
We were truly motivated by the cooperation that exists between Central African Republic's president and his Rwandan counterpart, and we thank them both as the country and young people that have today become soldiers to be able to defend the country. On his part, Central African Republic's president thanked President Paul Kagame and the Rwanda Defense Force for all they have done for his country.
Vous savez que la puissance africaine a vécu un moment difficile et que nous pensons.
You are aware that the Central African Republic endured difficult times, and we believe that the training that has been provided is essential for our military and the other security organs in terms of capacity building. Certainly, problems still exist, and that is the reason we requested assistance from our Rwandan brothers and sisters, and through the cooperation agreement we signed with Rwanda, the training was made possible. We also undertook a training in collaboration with Russia, and we will continue with such initiatives with our different partners. What we see here is a proof that through collaboration with other countries, we can build ourselves up. We thank President Paul Kagame and the RDF for coming to support us when it mattered most during all the challenges we experienced. I also want to take this opportunity to thank the armed forces of the Central African Republic that are steadily increasing their capacity through such trainings, and the young people that have completed their training today will go a long way in reinforcing the ranks of our troops. I can tell you that I'm very happy, and we are confident that the training will continue with our youth as well, building up our security.
Nous espérons que cette formation va se poursuivre avec d'autres jeunes et grandir les rangs de nos forces de défense et de sécurité.
The training was provided at different locations and encompassed a various array of military strategies as well as teachings on the importance of patriotism.
And we'll keep it to security matters. During the 56th ministerial meeting of the United Nations Standing Advisory Committee on Security Questions in Central Africa, Rwanda was elected to the presidency of the committee responsible for security issues in the Central Africa for the next 6 months. We do have the details with Prince Manzi.
Democracy. Issues of insecurity and cause in various regions are some of the issues discussed in the 56th ministerial meeting of the United Nations Standing Advisory Committee on Security Questions in Central Africa, UNESAC. The president of the Economic Community of Central African States, Bante Magaral, states that the security issues in various countries in the region are threats not only to those countries, but also to the region.
Dans notre région d'Afrique centrale, la crise dans l'est de la République démocratique du Congo.
In the Central African region, the security threats in eastern DRC are closer. So are threats in South Sudan. All demonstrate weaknesses of international organizations. When we look at all these threats that are even emerging at the global level, this is a great opportunity of reinforcing our efforts into solving these issues. The Sao Tome and Principe's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Gareth Haddad do Espírito Santo Guadalupe, emphasizes that apart from the cross-border cooperation, African leaders are to be aware that democracy is not a choice, rather it is a responsibility.
And it's also fundamental that the Constitution is taken as the cornerstone of democracy and fundamental rights in any nation. It establishes the principles of justice, equality, and protection of citizens. Consequently, whenever there are the establishment of unconstitutional powers, it implicates the violation of any such principles. However, we are politically responsible, and we need to know that the consolidation of peace, security, and democracy could be better reached by means of a prosperous Africa based on an inclusive growth and social economic initiatives.
The Rwanda's Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Dr. Vincent Biruta, demonstrates that the profound reasons for the unconstitutional changes of leadership are to be analyzed, hence tackling on the importance of such meeting.
L'examen des causes profondes qui constituent la base des changements non constitutionnels.
Examining profound reasons that resulted to unconstitutional placed leadership are challenges to be given attention. These challenges require collaborative analysis for having an effective and sustainable solution for a safe region in terms of politics, economy, and social welfare. The Central Africa and its partners are to establish measurements that neutralize the threats on security in the region.
Toute menace potentielle à la stabilité de notre sous-région.
In the past 10 years, 76% of the African Union budget was allocated to peace and security missions. Prince Manzi, RwandaTV News.
Thank you, Prince. The European Union has launched 13 new projects as part of a groundbreaking initiative aimed at bolstering civil society organizations and advancing human rights in Rwanda, which are worth 4.6 million euros. We have the details with Adam Skizera.
The labor rights at workplace is one of the topics that is often related by some of the members of the civil society organizations. The mining sector is one of the most related sectors to abuse such rights, which some of the observers testify that there should be a cooperation between the private sector and the government in order to close that gap in the observance of the labor rights, especially those in the mining sector.
Fencing, they are making quite good progress, but the challenges still abound, and these challenges are related to deficit in what we call decent work agenda. We have a decent work agenda which involves the creation of decent employment, the labor rights, the social protection aspect, and then the social dialogue aspect. For a sector to be decent, they have to comply with those 4 elements which I just mentioned. So the mining sector of Rwanda is also deficient in certain regard, especially in terms of decent working conditions with the written contracts, with the environment under which they work, and also the national regulation is there, but the implementation and the compliance is still lacking in certain regards. Therefore, we are urging the social partners to work with the government to improve selected areas which are the most affected.
In this regard, on Friday, the European Union has launched 13 new projects as part of groundbreaking initiative aimed at bolstering civil society organizations and advancing human rights in Rwanda, where those new projects are worth of 4.6 million euros, whereas 9 of those projects are dedicated to support children and youth living with disabilities. Francois Xavier Karangwa finds that these grants will facilitate the sectors to bridge various gaps.
It will help to build a Rwandan society which is inclusive to persons with disabilities to different sectors. Like for us, we are going to focus on health, on employment, but focusing mainly on youth with disabilities. So that it's a component which was chosen by UPHLS and its partners. Other sectors, they are going to work on other sectors and the other categories of disabilities. And once we put it together, it will be like a joint effort to build a Rwandan community, a society which is fully inclusive to persons with disabilities.
The ambassador of the European Union in Rwanda, Belano Calvo Uyara, points out that this support comes as part of the program dedicated to promote the social welfare of the local community.
European Union. This is support to civil society organizations on a number of key sectors where we are focusing, where we are already working with the government, and where we see that also civil society organizations can play a significant role in the society. So that's how we got to choose the disabilities, how that we came to choose also the labor rights in the mining space, how we got to choose the work on the accountability and budget, working with youth.
Among the funded projects, one of the key initiatives revolves around the budget accountability, a fundamental aspect of good governance. Additionally, 9 projects will support children and youth living with disabilities, with a special focus on improving the lives of children with intellectual disabilities. Addressing critical issues in the mining sector, another project will delve into human rights concerns, ensuring ethical practices and fair treatment within the mining industry. Furthermore, 2 projects are dedicated to enhance digital media, aligning with the evolving landscape of communication. Adams Kwizera, RTV News.
Thank you, Adams. And you transition us to health matters. For the past 4 days, surgeons from various parts of the country have been providing medical services to the Bushenje Hospital in Nyamasheke district. The surgical services were provided especially to 35 patients, including those with cleft conditions, skin grafts, and more. They expressed their immense gratitude and appreciation, as many of them had made peace with the discomforting physical conditions. The services are given under the partnership between Rwanda's Ministry of Health and a non-profit medical services organization, Operation Smile Rwanda. Program coordinator at Operation Smile Rwanda, Uwase Marie Curie, noted that in addition to providing medical solutions, the partnership has enabled the training of experts in particular surgeries.
Operation Smile, as was saying, we are mainly focusing on patient care and education. So when we talk about patient care, education comes first, because we are mainly training. We have education programs which includes education and training of plastic surgeons who will be performing these surgeries to different hospitals in the country. So instead of taking the whole team from the city and bringing them in the provinces, there will be surgeons in the hospitals performing these surgeries. But the impact that we have to these rural areas, basically this specialty of plastic surgery is found in the hospitals, in the city hospitals. And if you could take Bushenge as a sample, it's 6 hours from here to Kigali. So, and it's expensive for this person. So instead of telling this person to take that amount of money just for transport, sometimes they might even come, they don't even have food for that long time that are going to wait for surgery. We come close to them. Even if it's not close to every home, at least we are able to provide them with transport facilitation to bring them to the hospital, take them back at home, and also give them support them with how they are going to be living, like providing them with meals that are going to be supporting them throughout the whole week. So it's really impactful because we are getting the burden of the patients from the communities, but our main target is to make sure that we are not doing this. Like, for example, we come here once a year because we have to go to every hospital. So our goal is to make sure that the hospital is ready, because we are also working on the infrastructure, like to make sure that the hospital has necessary equipments to deliver this surgical care to the patients. So if we have better surgeons and well-built infrastructures, we believe that more of the patients in the communities are going to receive this safe and affordable surgical care.
2010, Operation Smile Rwanda has provided health care to more than 2,000 patients with cleft conditions and other surgical needs in Rwanda. Today, Operation Smile's investments and partnerships with the Ministry of Health and the University of Rwanda help to ensure access to safe, timely and affordable surgery by training local workforce. And VOA's report sums up our tonight's edition. On behalf of the entire news production, as well as the entire news production team and everyone here at RBA's Rwanda Television News, thank you very much for being with us. We wish you a great evening and a fun-filled weekend. Goodbye.